Swim, bike, run, keeping it real with Garrick Loewen, Jackson Laundry, and Nicholas Chase. Plus everyone's favorite host, Lisa Becharas. This is the Real Triathlon Podcast. Training, racing, no filter, all hard.
Welcome back to the Real Triathlon Podcast, the fastest hour in triathlon. Sometimes it's the longest hour when we go to an hour and a half, but we never know how long it's going to be because we don't put timestamps on the show notes. I am joined with Jackson Laundry and everyone's favorite host, Lisa Becharas. Today, I think this might be a little bit of a spicy episode. I know a few people are a little heated on some comments that have been made in the triathlon universe. I think, the astronauts, they came back to Earth, and I think some people, elitists in this sport, also need to come back to Earth. But we will get into that later. And I want to talk about, Jack, kind of how are you feeling? Last episode, you had mentioned that you had a little issue with your hip. So where is that at? How are you feeling?
Did I mention that in an episode on here?
Oh, maybe, or it was on a phone.
Well, I was going to mention it today anyways. By last episode, he means in our group chat on WhatsApp. Yeah, no, I haven't been running for 6 days. I've picked up a hip issue that feels very similar to what I had leading into and after Boise last year. So that sucked. I had like 3 days that I just couldn't bike really or run. Then I kind of built the bike back in a little bit over the last few days. And then today I actually was able to ride pretty hard and it felt fine. It didn't re-aggravate anything. So that was good. So now I can bike hard. I swim. I can do obviously hard pull. I can swim regular with normal kick for like up to like a tempo kind of effort now, which that'll come back really fast. So I'm guessing within the next few days, I'll be like swimming normal, fully, intervals and everything. And then, yeah, the run, we'll see. I got an MRI Wednesday, but, hopefully, I mean, I was kind of thinking, because symptoms wise, it was the same as the Boise thing, but I stopped running like way sooner because I just kept getting like physio and, like massage therapists telling me like, oh, I don't think this is a bone injury at all. Like, I think you're fine. I think it's probably just like a strained muscle or something. And then it just, every time I ran, it got worse and worse and worse. So this time when like the first run I did where I ran and it like actually felt worse after the run noticeably, I was like, okay, this is what this is. It feels the same pain, same symptoms, all that. So I stopped way earlier, but now it's been 6 days and it like hasn't improved as much as I would have liked. The first like 3-4 days, I'm like, this is not getting better at all. Like just, it isn't. So that was weird.
Yeah.
But I also, a little thing that people probably haven't heard is I had to end up getting on antibiotics after that Stingray because it started swelling up like 10 days later.
It
was
did?
like,
I didn't know that.
yeah, it like barely, like it just started to a tiny bit, but I knew from like going into that doctor, when I was in, California for that race, she was like, okay, if it starts to swell or anything at all, like, and it could take a while, if it starts to, just, you got to get the antibiotic. So I was like, damn, I got to get this figured out. So then I went on antibiotic for a week and it was not one that's supposed to have like any side effects that are bad. I know there's one antibiotic that can like really mess up your tendons, and it wasn't that one. I made sure not to get that one. It was the one that can make you 10 to 100 times more sensitive to UV light, though.
They give that for skin infections a lot. I was on that one when I grew a testicle saddle sore last year, and riding my bike outside, I got like so sunburned. I was like, I can't take this. I was so sunburned.
Yeah. So I got a sunburn running, and it was like 0 degrees out. So anyways, I was like, man, I'm not healing, but I was on that antibiotic and I'm like researching, is there any other side effects? Could it possibly affect healing? And I was even like biasing the AI. I'm like, I think this antibiotic's affecting my healing. And it's like, there's no evidence that there's any way that's happening. But then I stopped it, and it now every day since I've stopped it, it's actually felt a little better each day. So who knows? Like maybe I just had a bad response to it, or maybe they just don't know every single thing about all these like things that we take. So, but in any case, starting to feel a little better. So it's kind of waiting. Honestly, it's not looking too good for Chatty to be like, if I make like a miraculous recovery and I'm running like pretty normally by next week, then maybe. But at this point, I'm not too concerned, and I just want to get better for the Happy Valley Mont Tremblant double that Garrick and I are definitely going on.
I'm hoping, man. I haven't had that conversation with my wife yet because I just told her that I bought a new bike. So, in stages.
I was gonna say Garrick isn't that like that whole race scenario like maybe 2 or 3 weeks before like babies do, or is it?
So
like
full term is gonna be so she's due July 17th, but so I guess 2 weeks before that is full term, right?
Yeah.
But so this is like another 2 weeks before that. So I figured if I put 2 races on the calendar, and we plan
These are the 2 that you want.
Yeah, like
These are the 2. Like these are the only possible way you can get 2 races in, unless you do Chattanooga, which you're gonna be away for a baby moon, aren't you?
Yeah, so that's the other thing that kind of ruins training, is the baby moon. But we're only gone for a couple days for the baby moon, and I'll be able to swim and run. So we're going to St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Just if you're watching on YouTube, you just saw Jackson's
Just
nipple.
got a nip slip.
Jack's
So you
nip
should-
slip. He got
you
so
should probably
excited for St.
subscribe on
Vincent. and the
Yeah, well,
Grenadines.
Nick's usually shirtless the entire time, so you guys just got about 3 seconds there.
But yeah, so Jack, I think I definitely want to do the double, even if I only race one of the races, like, or if I haven't, if something happens after between the races, I can make it back and it's fine. I think we'll be okay. But
Yeah.
anyways, so something I did do on the weekend, speaking of racing, is I ran a 10K.
Wow.
And
Oh, wait. Tell us the course. Let's guess your time.
Yeah.
Was it fast, slow
is
course?
it outside road,
I would-
flat?
I would consider it a fast course. They call it rolling, but in triathlon it'd be considered fast. There's like maybe 3 little hills that
Alright.
just all they
Boring.
do is disrupt your rhythm.
And what was
We're
the
wearing
weather?
super shoes.
Yeah, Metaspeed raise. And in the morning I weighed in at 195.3 pounds.
Okay. so race weight.
Yeah.
And what was the weather? Was it
But-
nice and cool?
It was cool, it was dry, and the guy who won the race went 28 minutes.
Okay.
Oh my god.
So-
Okay,
I'm
so
gonna
I'm gonna
say-
say 28:30. No, I was kidding. Okay.
I'm gonna say 34:55.
Ooh, that's quick. That might be a good guess, but I'm gonna go. Oh, dang. Oh, fuck. I'm gonna go slower. I'm gonna go 35:45.
I went 34:40.
Ooh, we
I'm
got some pretty
Yeah.
good guesses.
So close.
That's good.
Yeah. So that is the goal. My A goal going into the race was to run my half marathon PB pace, which I missed by 1 second per kilometer. So I averaged 3:28, and my open half is 3:27. But my B goal was to beat what Strava had predicted, and that was like 35:40 or something. But I haven't, really been doing workouts, so it's hard for it to tell.
That's
There
what
you
I
go.
was gonna. This is actually a good segue, real quick, because
Oh, and I negative split by 40 seconds.
Holy, that's a lot.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
So let's just give people perspective. Your best ever shape would have been what? 32
Like
high?
33. Yeah, low 33, I think.
Okay, so you're
I-
only 10 seconds per K off that.
That's not
Yeah.
that. With
Yeah,
not
if
doing
that,
as
and
much
maybe even
training.
less.
Yeah.
So that's really good. You're in a good spot. So what you're saying is you're going to have, you got like 9 weeks until we do our race double.
Yeah, I think
so you could
it's
potentially
interesting.
have a really good day.
Yeah, although I was so sore the next day. I've never been so sore from a 10K.
Oh my
I think
gosh.
it's because of the way I ran it, where I basically ran the back half like all out.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So I
dude.
was very sore, but I was quite surprised. So there's obviously some residual fitness there, and yeah, I don't think technically my fastest ever is 31 minutes, but I'm pretty sure the course was slow, or not slow. I'm pretty sure it was short. That was at the Island Lake Triathlon, but I'm pretty sure that.
Yeah, I would say
That's
so.
awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
good job. Congrats on that. And Lisa, we were just chatting off air about your foot and how things are going a little slower than you wanted. So give people the update on that.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I made an appointment with my ortho that I have tomorrow morning. And I really think that this whole debacle of having a stress reaction in my second metatarsal was just an incidental finding on the MRI versus like a real thing, because it's been about 10 weeks since I've run, maybe 10 and a half, and it hasn't gotten any better. And I'm moving more towards like, I think it's more of like a neuroma, soft tissue bursitis thing, just with how it feels when I move my toes versus like any pounding. Like I can jump around, like I can do a jump test, single leg hop, and like I don't have like bone pain per se. So I'm gonna chat with him tomorrow, and I don't know, hopefully that means I'm running soon, because I don't really know what you do for that, but maybe just like a
So what you're
cortisone
saying
injection
is,
in the toe.
yeah, this is something you're just gonna push through, and if it's a bone injury, it's a bone injury. Too bad, right?
Yeah, then it'll just fracture, and then it'll just like fracture, like it'll heal quicker. Like if a bone just fractures, it'll heal quicker. None of this like stress reaction. Like we're not real injury, but we're not, So
It's actually kind of like, as stupid as that sounds, it's kind of could be true.
I swear
in
that's what
certain-
you said before. You're like, it's just when you fractured your
Depends
foot
where it
last
is, and
year.
like I don't
Yeah.
know. Like I think some of these like bigger bone stress injuries are where the timelines can be really long if it's not like a full-on fracture, but they could probably be really long if it is a full-on fracture too. So
Yeah.
I don't really know. The thing with bone injuries, if it is a bone injury, is like the rate of healing seems really individual for like stress-related injuries. Whereas like a broken bone, if you fall and break your arm and I fall and break my arm, Garrick falls and breaks his arm, the healing is pretty similar. It feels
We're all
to
gonna
me
heal in,
like
like,
that's
6
the case.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just, with the stress injuries, it's like, it's this balance of how much is your body putting into remodeling bone on like a normal basis, because it's not like there's this like huge signal from the bone coming saying, oh, I'm broken, like you got to fix me. So it's this, I don't know, that's the way my brain thinks about it. I don't know if that's right at all. I kind of just made that up, but that's kind of
Can
my
I
thoughts.
have you guys look at something real quick?
Is it gonna get us canceled?
Is it gonna?
No.
Yeah,
But
get
it's
us,
the views are
get
gonna
this
be
taken down on
increased.
YouTube.
Is it a foot?
It's a foot.
Okay, then
I
yes,
just
you
want
should.
you just want you to look at how much more I can splay one foot versus the other. Okay. Ooh, I don't know what's on my toe.
Is that the more or the less?
This is the more. Like
This
look
is
how
gonna
far.
go ridiculous on social media.
And this is the other one.
Wait, we can't see it.
There's a difference.
Is that the neuroma one?
This one is the one that moves more.
Why can that one
Dude,
not split?
I can smell those from here.
No, I just showered. Because I was going down the ChatGPT like hole. I was like, if you have like a neuroma, can that put more pressure on your second metatarsal? And it was like, well, of course, it's like, yeah, it could possibly do that. It could do.
Yeah, but
it could-
ChatGPT just tells you it just like, could this happen? It always says yes. It's like, it's
But
the
then
worst
it also
one.
said something about like splay foot, and I was like, wait, I've noticed that my foot can start doing this more. So that's why I think that it's like some sort of
So-
neuroma soft tissue.
Your husband has access to this thing called Open Evidence, and it's like ChatGPT, but
Yeah.
for all medical stuff. And I think you should use that for your
Okay,
stuff.
I'll ask him.
anytime there's like some sort of supplement or something that I see on TikTok, I send it to Morgan, and she'll like put it in there,
Look
and
it
she'll
up
be like,
on.
yeah, she'll be like, there's no evidence. There's one study that was like preliminary, and it was just a case study or something.
I think we've looked at when Nicole got tagged by a stingray. I think we asked Steve, and I was like, "Can you look it up on Open Evidence?" And looked up something. I don't remember what it said, but no, I'll ask him. He just thinks it was incidental, this bone stress injury. So anyways, that's where I'm at. So
What about you,
hopefully
Garrick?
I can race Mount Tremblant.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Garrick, what about you? Are you uninjured? This is like the injury crew, and I've not typically been an injury crew member, but now I am. I'm like working my way. I'm like testing the waters. I'm like, would you guys accept me? And I don't want that. I want to be
No.
injury crew.
No.
It's
No,
usually
no,
Mark,
this is, like,
and I don't want it
so-
to be Mark. I want it to be none of us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is so unused to, like, just not used to Jack being chronically injured like he has been the last 13 months.
Yeah.
Seems like something's always popping up, and it's like Jack's always been kind of just bulletproof. If something shows up, he'd be like, well, it wasn't really anything, so I just raced and won this race anyways.
That's always how it's been. So now I've got to like adjust. Am I just old now? Like, I don't think so. I think, well, the other thing is I did run more than I've ever run in a 6-week span. So like you can't ignore that. And I responded well. I raced well. So I think after this is healed and moving forward, I want to run as much, but maybe mix in a little bit more like reduced weight running. So maybe like 1 run a week is reduced weight or half reduced weight or something. And I think that'll just be the difference between, and I don't think it'll affect my running. I don't think it's like, oh, you ran 15K reduced weight, now you're not running as well. It's like, well, I'll just run, like I'll still run at the same heart rate. It just won't be as much impact.
Yeah.
So I think that'll probably
I
be
also
my
think
solution.
I don't know, my philosophy with the running and triathlon stuff is I think we just have so much crossover with fitness from swimming and biking, especially biking, that I think we don't have to run as much as some people are running in the sport. Like
It's a tough, like, it's hard to know because, like, yeah, I was also biking more. Like, I was just training more. So, like, maybe I just swap out an hour of running for biking, and there you go.
I mean, yes and no, because the more you run, the more you can run, because the more durable you become, right? Until you get injured. So, but if over time you just slowly build it up, then you can run more. If you're chronically under-trained on the run, you're always going to get injured. Every time you try to introduce any sort of intensity or really change the prescription of the distribution or any sort of loading from the run, you're just going to chronically get injured. And you see that all the time because, again, your engine's bigger than your chassis, right? So you go out and you just hammer and you get injured again.
That's my problem.
You see people do that all the time.
Maybe
Chronically
Lisa,
injured triathletes.
maybe Lisa, I mean, me too, but maybe Lisa needs to be on the, like, run every day, but not very far.
like 20
10
minutes.
minutes.
Yeah, start at 10 minutes a day
20
and then work your way up. But no, I agree with that for sure. And I think also the thing with running that's a bit different is there's like a biomechanical efficiency that you just get from running more. And I really notice it myself. And that's where I'm like, I'd rather run like 100K weeks and 15K every week is on the lever than run 90K weeks, nothing on the lever. I just think that the time spent doing the running motion is just very useful. I don't know. It's just this,
Yeah.
it seems like I respond to it.
Every time I've done like just a run block, you definitely lose overall fitness, but like something happens. Even like I don't run a lot. Like I've done a couple blocks. Like in the fall, I was just running maybe 115 to 100. Actually, 115 I think was basically where I capped out for a few weeks. And like that 4th, 5th week, it's like something just kind of unlocks, and your easy runs just like nothing hurts you, doesn't feel fine. Then your pace just slowly climbs, and you can just do more, and you just faster, and you're like, oh wow, like I'm training a lot less, and I'm obviously getting a lot less of an aerobic stimulus, but somehow I'm more efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just wish there was like some sort of device that you could like put on that like measures.
Oh, for running outside?
Yeah, that just like measures like your total impact and like where your bones
There is something
are at, and it just tells you like, oh, you're entering the red zone. Like you have to stop running this fast or this long, and you're about to break.
Okay. My chiro, shout out to Kyle. He's been helping me out with treatment on this stuff. He was mentioning that he's looking into getting a device that it measures you run. It tracks your running on. It's on the treadmill, I think, probably only. But it kind of tracks you running over time, and then it detects where shifts in like biomechanical efficiency could be happening, something like that. He just mentioned it briefly. I don't know a lot about it, but maybe that's what you need. Maybe it's just like, oh, maybe you run once a week with that, and it's like, oh, after 35 minutes, this is happening, and this is your thing to watch out for or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I just want like a probe that like goes into my bones and tells me.
Oh man.
There's somebody out there that has a lot of money. Just start doing some research on that. So anyways.
All right, guys. Anyway, enough talking about us. There are some other topics to speak about of triathlon. I think 20 minutes on us is plenty. But there was a conversation that happened on another podcast. A podcast that I tend to actually kind of enjoy. I like some of the characters on there quite a bit. But I thought that, they had a couple of takes that I just didn't agree with. And that's fine. You're allowed to disagree with it. And I think we all three of us here disagree with some stuff. And we all three of us are kind of come at this from a different perspective in the sport. And that conversation was prize money.
Yes.
So the way it came off a bit to me was a bit.
Why don't we just say what it was? Like, let's just make people's lives easier. It's Pro Tri News had a talk about prize money, and it's hard to say generalization, but in general, it seemed the take was that Ironman doesn't need to pay deeper prize money. It kind of, because they're already paying the Pro Series, and that's already increasing the prize money being paid out, which is true. And that seemed to be the main point. Now I know people are going to be like, wait a sec, so-and-so disagree with that. But that's like the most general explanation I can gather from it. And they said that there needs to be more sponsors into the sport of triathlon to bring more money into it rather than it being Ironman's problem.
Yeah,
is that fair?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's fair, Jack. I was trying to, make it a little more professional.
Yeah, I don't care.
Jack just cut straight to it. No, that's fine. Yeah, that's totally fine. Yeah. So PTN they did have that. They had some interesting takes. Lisa, I know you disagreed with some stuff. I don't know if you want to kick this off.
Well, I just want to first off say that I think that every time they start a podcast, and I listen to their podcast every week. I'm one of their downloaders. And I do like the podcast most of the time. They have good takes. They bring up good arguments. But I will say the biases, however you say that word, on the podcast I just feel like some people forget. With the characters, you have Mark Matthews, who is married to Kat Matthews, arguably top 3 best triathletes in the world right now. You have Pat Lemieux, who is a sports agent for Kat Matthews, Taylor Knibb, Lionel Sanders, Magnus Ditlev, maybe other people, I don't know. Those are the big 4, I think.
Top people.
Yeah, so top athletes.
And married to an Olympic champion.
Yes, and married to Gwen Jorgensen, Olympic champion. And then you have Talbot Cox, who is like Lionel Sanders' best man, videographer. He's done amazing things for the sport of triathlon. And
works
then
also with he does other media things, but works with the Feed, which is mostly very much top athletes and sort of high success level athletes in the sport, top 30.
He kind of revolutionized the way that we do media in the sport. I guess
in YouTube series. for sure.
Yeah.
And then you have Kyle Glass, who is like, he works for sales or something.
He's just a triathlon nerd. He's the one. He's the one that I will say, like, you could tell sometimes he disagrees with them, and he just doesn't want to say it because everyone else is, in agreement, and they work like fully, a lot of them, in the industry, and he's more like he comes across more as like the hobby triathlon fan guy, even though he probably knows as much about the sport as anyone. Like, he's a really good student of the sport, and I think he does a great job as well. They all do a really good job, to be fair.
Yeah.
And Talbot's a triathlon nerd too, right? Like, that's why he got into it. So
For
him
sure.
and Kyle provide the comedy, and it's really funny. But just like the fun take. They're like Lisa, the Lisa of the podcast. They bring all the energy. Anyways,
But I will say,
let's-
yeah, so that's important to note that there are these biases, and none of them are or have been professional triathletes. I think Pat was a pretty good cyclist back in his day, but they're
And he's
all
getting pretty good now again, I think.
yeah, but they're all like one degree removed. Like, yes, you're living with your wives that are triathletes, like you're very close in the sport, but you're 1 degree removed. You've never actually lived like what it was like to be a top 100 pro triathlete or top 200 or anything. So I just
even
think
just
that's like,
below 50, actually not below 50, even just below 20th ranked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I think that's important to note. And I like all those guys. I've had really great camaraderie with a bunch of them. But yeah, it annoyed me when they said something along the lines of like, if you can't finish in a top 10 in a pro series race, like maybe not that you shouldn't race, but like maybe
Don't do pro series, they basically said.
yeah.
Which is kind of an interesting point to make because we all know Ironman doesn't want that, right? They don't want Oceanside to have 15 pro men and 10 pro women. Like some races do, like some smaller races outside of North America, outside of Europe, like in South America or something might have a field like that or even smaller. And that race doesn't generate Ironman a ton of revenue in terms of the pro field, and so if it has a pro purse, it'll be smaller, which is pretty fair, but
So
it won't be
that's
that much smaller.
That's actually not true because it might not bring like Ironman globally a big thing, but when you go to those races, it is a huge deal for the local pros and the local athletes. Like I did Ironman Brazil last year, and it is insane. Even Pucon is crazy, just the amount of hype that it brings, just having pros there and stuff. And it brings that particular race quite a bit of attention. So I couldn't imagine what Pucon would be without pros, what Ironman Brazil would be without pros, stuff like that.
And I will say that Ironman, they're putting their money towards the Pro Series races. So they're putting a broadcast on. They're making those races easier to reach if you're not actually at that race. So that's something to also, like, it's costing them more marketing dollars, and they're putting a bigger prize purse too.
For sure. And I guess the point I was trying to make, the broader point was that even though, yes, there's more prize money there, there's per athlete racing is probably less than like a Pucon or a Ironman Brazil or races like that. Almost certainly less, actually. Even if, and then once, if you say, okay, well, what if you take a fraction of the Ironman Pro Series at the end of the year and say that a fraction of that goes towards, am I still here or am I glitching out on you guys?
You came back.
Oh, I came back.
You're here.
Even if you take a fraction of the Pro Series money for each Pro Series race, then you'd have to factor all that in, and then maybe it gets pretty close to being similar. But the thing is, the Ironman, like the Pro Series only pays top athletes. Like, you're not getting any points in these races unless you're someone who's already pretty much in the money at all these races. Oceanside was a little bit of an anomaly on the men's side where you did have some pretty dang quick times all the way down through like 20th, 30th that weren't that far back. So like that's maybe a bit of an anomaly, but the basic argument is that all the money in the Pro Series essentially goes to the same people who are already making prize money anyway. So it doesn't help to actually develop the sport really, because you do need those mid-pack pros. Like, you don't want to watch Oceanside with 10 people way off front and then nobody else, like, because it doesn't look good on a race broadcast. It doesn't look professional. You just don't want that as part of the broadcast. 20 guys on the start line. And I think Ironman gets a lot of benefit out of those athletes, and they set the standard for what it is to be a pro athlete. Like 20th place in the men's race is a pretty darn good performance. Like Nick was 30th or 31st, and he was like 356 or something on a hard course. Like, that's a really legit time, a really legit performance, and you're 30th place.
Yeah, I mean, Cam Werf was 20th. Rudy Von Berg was 15th. Gustav Eden was 12th at Oceanside. Like, yeah. And none of those guys got paid for being there.
No.
It's a bit crazy
Yeah.
this time around.
Yeah.
I also don't like the idea of them paying deeper at Pro Series races and taking away prize purses at all other races. Like that only Pro Series races would have prize purses to get paid. Because essentially that would mean like you would only have, I think it's like 16 Ironman branded pro races a year. That would suck. So,
Yeah, no. That was a horrible idea. Like that was a dumbest idea.
I think the big thing that I think kind of the way they were looking at it was like an all or nothing thing. It was like either we do this crazy, prize purse increase or we do nothing. And they're like, well, but we already did something. And it's this, right? Where you have to go do 5 races to get $5,000 or something. And I think, there's got to be an in between. It's like as the sport grows, maybe the prize money grows, right? Like they haven't really, aside for adding the Pro Series, I think Jack just touched on this, but he was kind of glitchy a bit. I don't think, outside of that, I don't think the prize money's really changed. Like the prize purses at races and stuff like that. And even if we want to tie this to inflation and just cost of entry to races and stuff, like that's gone way up. And I think a lot of pros, what they're annoyed with is they view our pro license fee as if we're paying for our prize purse, even though I believe that covers our insurance. On top of, there might be some money left over for
doping?
For doping control, and then go into prize money and stuff like that.
And paying the pro coordinators, stuff like that. There's costs.
Yeah, and like I don't think any pro is expecting that routinely goes to pro races or that any race and finishes 20th or even 15th or something is expecting to make a living off of this sport. Like I'm talking about just any pro, like average pro race in general. I don't think, but just like throw us a bone or something. Like sometimes it's like it just offsets the cost of doing this.
Yeah. I would. What do you guys think? How many professional athletes should be able to make like a living doing triathlon? Like what's the
like what kind of living? What kind of living too, right? Because
not a fancy living.
Yeah, but it
like
drops
pay the
off
bills
quick.
to pay the travel.
Like even if you think about this, it drops off quick. So those winning the Pro Series, Jack's right, they win all the races too, right? So they're making $500,000. But by the time you get to 20th, say that 20th person's making $80,000 a year. Well, that's not $80,000 like salary like most people make, right? That's $80,000 minus expenses, minus running your business. So really, it's like making a salary of say $40,000 because you got to factor in travel, equipment, all that stuff, pro license fees. That kind of stuff.
I would say for a pro triathlete racing all year, racing at least 6 to 8 races, it's probably the what would you say the average cost would be? Around 25 to 30 grand US just to go to races, like equipment, like all that stuff.
That's where I've been in my expenses the past 2 years has been in like the 25 to 30.
Yeah, I just did mine and it was 40 Canadian, something like that. So that's 30-ish US.
Exactly. So that's not traveling like you would expect a pro athlete to travel. That's slumming it. Like
I don't know about slumming. I don't really slum it anymore, but I definitely am careful with how I spend and for sure you're right. And like that's the cost to be a pro triathlete, whether you're finishing last or first. So I don't know how many people it's a hard question you ask, Lisa, because you almost have to know some things to know what would be fair. And like, how much is Ironman making from the broadcast? We don't really know. How much are these new sponsors that are sponsoring the broadcast paying them because the broadcast has been successful? I don't know the number on that, but I'm guessing it covers all their Pro Series prize payouts. Like I'm guessing that's like hundreds of thousands of people watching all these races, like that brand getting out there. That's probably pretty hefty sponsor deals. Like, I don't know. What do you think, Garrick?
I think it's insane that we have a pro world championship race that is iconic to our sport, that definitely generates a lot of money from the broadcast and the hype around it, everything, and it only pays 15 deep, and it's not everyone that finishes gets a paycheck in that race.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Those are the top guys. Like, can't we even just start there? If you want to start from the top guys, like, let's just offer money. Everyone that does that race, you know,
Couple
gets
$1,000
paid.
bucks.
Yeah.
And that doesn't even cover costs. That's an expensive race. Like, if you get $2,000, then some sponsors in the industry might pay you a little bit of a travel fee or something for a Kona race. So you might be able to break even if you're getting $2,000 from Ironman.
Yeah.
If you're lucky. So
Like, the
I agree with
Masters,
that.
the Masters just happened on the weekend. All right. So they make $0 from the broadcast because they refuse to take money because they like to have control of the broadcast. Their concessions are $1.50 for a sandwich and $6 for a beer. Like, they're not like gouging money. They only have
Gouging
4
people.
sponsors. They only run ads on the TV on Sunday once every hour. So yeah, it's crazy. And the winner of that gets a bigger payout than the entire Ironman Pro Series. And not to mention, if you don't make the cut at the Masters, which is about, I think it's what, 50th or 55th or something was the cut this year, you still get paid $25,000 just to show up. And then it's $55,000 if you're last after the cut. So only just what, 52 guys that go to Kona, 52 women, like that's 104 athletes or something like that. 100 athletes that go to Kona. You telling me you can't pay the last, like, everyone after 15th like $2,000 or something like that? I am sure you're making enough money on the broadcast to do that.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
much did Rory make from winning the Masters yesterday? What's
4.5, I think,
$4.5 million?
is just the prize purse. Obviously, just like triathlon, you know, you get all the bonuses from all your sponsors.
Yeah.
But yeah, he got
That's
$4.5
insane.
million.
So yeah, I think like actual suggestions that I think would be fair with, you know, and it's a different era, right? When Kona started, I could see an argument for why you're not paying people beyond the top 10 or the top 15 or whatever. But now all these people, it's not necessarily what they do at Kona. Well, for one thing, it is, though. Like, everyone who's a fan of their pro triathlete from their country who makes it to Kona is watching to support them. And they're a good freaking athlete. If they qualify for Kona, they're probably podiuming and getting great finishes at races throughout the year. It's that, plus it's all the revenues generated from them being a part of their whole pro series and then moving into, or even whatever Ironman they did that they won or came top 5 at, or whatever it might be to qualify for Kona. And I think it's just at this point, yeah, like Ironman's obviously really increased their revenues the last few years. I think a big help for that is the pro series, and I'd like to see them pay deeper in Kona. And then I think a little deeper in the pro series races, but not decreasing other purses is very reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like to say, okay, pro series race, you're paying 15 deep minimum or something like that. I think that's fair. It doesn't have to be huge amounts of money, like $1,000 or something for 10th to 15th.
Yeah, even if you go 15 deep is probably fine. 20 deep. Like, last pro series race I did, I think I finished 24th. I don't expect to get paid for going there and finishing 24th, but the top 15 guys getting in the top 15, I think it's probably worth a bit of a payday there. I think the way they kind of went about this was the way they looked at it, and they talked about athletes who weren't in the top 10 was almost like the same guys that get in the way of the women's race. And it's like, no, we're not saying the guys that get in the way of the women's race should be getting paid and make a living doing this sport.
Yeah.
That was a little out of touch.
Yeah, as the level of the sport grows and the races get deeper, I think, and the revenues increasing and the broadcasts increasing, I think we also need to, pay a little deeper.
Yeah. I mean, since I've been like missing most of the first half of like the spring season of competing, I've been looking at some different 70.3s to do later on in the year. And I'm also still so turned off of like a $15,000 prize purse race. Because it's, first of all, like on the other side of the world. and second of all, it just like you have to finish sixth to make $1,000. To break even, you have to win.
I would like, if they're gonna like the $15,000 prize purse. I think the point of that, because that's pretty new too, right?
Sorry, wait, $15,000. They only pay 5 deep, and fifth gets 500.
But
the winner
that's
gets
more
500.
That's more for like developing the sport in a certain area, or like putting, like generating some buzz in that area. So instead of maybe us traveling down to South America to race $15,000 prize purse, maybe there should be more races in North America that have $15,000 prize purses for
that'd be good
athletes, right?
I mean, they could put up a few of those.
That.
And I don't think it
15K.
takes. I really don't think that it adds that much more cost to the whole production. I think you have to allot a couple more motos, and I don't know.
You got to bring in a few more refs and stuff. But yeah, it's hard to know when we don't know the numbers that Ironman pulls in and what their balance sheet looks like. But I just really think the relatively small increase compared to what they're paying already to pay deeper in the Pro Series, like, it's just the development pathway is what I'm concerned about, because I think one of the comments on the Pro Tri News post was really good. Somebody mentioned that there needs to be like a middle class pro triathlete that can actually do the sport and not lose money. And yeah, like pro men going 355 or whatever at Oceanside, that's really legit. Like, that's better. Like, you should not be an age grouper if you're going 355 at Oceanside, for sure. And yet it seems like the industry doesn't have a place for those people to really make even a little bit of a living, or like a side gig living. And I think that needs to change, where if you're good enough to go that fast, you're the standard for the people who are new, who are like, oh, okay, that's like the level for being a pro triathlete, being like that level. And they should be picking up prize money a fair bit of the time. They can maybe sneak into the odd top 5 in like a non-pro series race. That level, I think, needs to, now that the sport is in this point where it's at a higher level, we need the development level to be better as well. Otherwise, it's just this top people getting a lot, and then we're basically the only feeder system is going to be from draft legal, and nobody's going to be able to work their way up through the ranks and actually like pay for stuff as they go.
I also think what Ironman could do is when they have, they like 4 weeks before the race, they know what the entry list looks like, or the start list looks like. I think they can look at an Oceanside and say, wow, like, I think we should increase this to pay top 18 based on the quality of field. And so we're going to throw an extra $30,000 at this race because it's worth that. And I don't know, I think they should be able to do that. And I think it would generate even more hype. Like, hey, Ironman cares. Ironman wants stacked fields. And if you get stacked fields, we're going to increase the prize purse, because we don't want Rudy Von Berg to go home with nothing after a really great performance.
It's also sad. The other thing that I get really sad at, and this is one of the reasons why I didn't go all in on triathlon at one point, when I kind of was at a fork in the road and I was like, okay, I'm going to 1 foot in, 1 foot out this, is, guys, we show up to an Ironman and the prize purse is $150,000. $150,000. That's peanuts, guys. Like, and like, there's, even if you win the race, like, you're fighting over, people pay more than $150,000 in taxes every year. Like, Justin Reale probably pays more than that in taxes, and is showing up to a race, and we're splitting $150,000 among 20 people.
Yeah,
it's like,
no, I know,
like,
it's not a lot.
It's embarrassing.
You can't. There's not a lot we can say to argue that one. But
yeah,
I like the idea of a discretionary budget, where they're like, okay, we're gonna have a $500K for the year discretionary budget, and we're gonna allocate it as we go. We may not use all of it. We'll say we'll at least use 300K of it or something. And the races that have more than expected or higher fields are going to get some of that budget. And then it kind of protects people from going to an Oceanside and having a great day and not getting prize money when they should have.
Mark Dubrick finished ninth.
Yeah, Mark
0.
Yeah. Under the previous course record, no prize money. Like that that's kind of crazy. But if they had said, oh yeah, this Oceanside's insane, let's chuck another 30K at it and we'll pay 15 deep, then he walks away with $1,500 or something, and he's like, all right, that's a day I can be happy with, and it didn't cost me 2 G's to do this race.
Yeah. So I think that's something they should definitely implement, but also never having the opportunity to decrease prize money based on field sizes. Like, it should always be like minimum, like this is the minimum that we will pay, but there's the opportunity to get more. I want to also revisit, just like, we're not just slamming on Ironman, but also Ironman, if you're listening, can you please increase the prize purse? We would love that. But also how far Ironman has come, because in 2010, there was a rule, the old Ironman Pro prize money purse, that essentially said you had to finish within 8% of the winner's time to claim prize money. And this, I only heard about this because in 2010, Julie Dibbins was racing Boulder 70.3, did not agree with this rule, and she was like smashing the race because she's a multiple-time world champion. She waited at the finish line, like before crossing the finish line, for over 5 minutes before she crossed, because she wanted to allow more women to get paid, because she was like, it's really hard to make money in this sport. So Ironman, like, that shouldn't have to be a box to check. So
that's an awesome piece of Ironman history, by the way. That's cool. I never knew that. And just so people have a kind of an idea of what that is. So if the winner in probably a women's race these days, like super fast women might win in about 4 hours. So that would mean being 19 minutes and 12 seconds behind would be the farthest you would be allowed to be. So if Taylor Nim goes, smashes it in some small race, it'd be a very decent chance that nobody would get prize money behind her if that rule was still in place. So I agree with that. I think I like you have the prize money there. It should never be less than what, and I mean, unless there literally aren't enough people to fill the prize money slots. That's like the only way. In which case, they just all get prize money, so nobody complains.
Here's another piece of Ironman history. Do you guys remember when the real Starkey was a thing, and they fundraised for, I can't remember what race it was, but it was like 9th place at a race. Was it Boulder 70.3 or?
It might have been
Ironman?
a challenge race.
No, it was definitely an Ironman race, and was it AJ Baco finished 9th or something? And it was
I think it was Ray Botelho.
Place. Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Or the two of them were like fighting to, yeah.
They might have done it a couple times, but the one time it was Ray Botelho. They raised money to pay the next person who wasn't going to get prize money. They made it so that person got more prize money than the person who finished in the last prize money slot.
Yeah.
Wait, that's epic. So then you're like fighting for like 9th place. You don't want to finish 8th place.
I guess. I don't think they intended to make that much, but they just got donations enough that's what it was.
Yeah. That was a good. That was a good time. That was when triathlon was, really coming of age in the new media landscape of
that was like
podcasts.
That's
and
honestly
parody.
that might be the best triathlon podcast aside from ours in history. If you haven't listened to TRS Triathlon podcast, it's like, think of all the podcasts you know now. It's nothing like any of them. Go back and listen. I don't know is it available to still listen to?
I don't know, but they were like
Is
the
it
original
just
ones
Stark-
that you could
is
like.
it just Starkey?
It's
No,
called
no.
TRS
It's
Triathlon.
Yeah.
It started as like a guy pretending to be as a joke, Starkey, and they called themselves the real Starkey, and it was like a Twitter.
It was like a Twitter
account.
thing, yeah.
Oh.
And I have a little funny story about this. 2018 Augusta, 70.3. I did the race. It's a 14-hour drive home. I was like, all right, I'm gonna do 2-day drive and take my time in the morning. It was left at like 9 a.m. or something. And then I got listening to the TRS Triathlon podcast. I drove all the way home till 1 a.m. because I was just like into this podcast so much. And I was like, man, I could just keep going. This is easy. Like, no problem.
Yeah.
So anyway,
that was
they
like
got me
the
through that drive.
original podcast. That was so great. That's what got me into podcasts. And I remember I actually so when they were raising money for this, he was like selling merch and stuff. And I like bought a t-shirt from him. And it was like a really nice t-shirt, like high quality. I was like, oh, wow, this is nice. And then they had gluten tolerant bracelets that he sent with the t-shirt. It was like just the funniest thing.
Oh yeah, that would have been in the celiac era.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it was
Wait,
good.
so what was the
If you
name
can
of this
find it.
guy?
I can't
Ben
remember his
Hobbs,
name.
wasn't it?
Was Ben Hobbs?
Where is
That
this
could be
guy
wrong.
now?
Nobody
We
knows.
gotta- We
He
should get
kind
him
of
on
got
the podcast.
divorced. It's pretty funny.
He
It
would
goes
be
through like a real
recording-
arc. He'd be like, he'd always be complaining about his wife, and like how she doesn't like that he does a podcast or something, and then like one day he's just like, well, my wife kicked me out, and I'm living in a trailer now. Poor guy.
And he would record the podcast like in his closet, hiding from his wife. It was
That's
good
epic.
times. So, anything else that you guys kind of wanted to touch upon this?
No, not on the
No.
prize money. I wanted a tangent real quick, unless you guys had something else to say.
I think what would you think is fair based on your perception of what Ironman makes? Let's just say what we think, what we would want. Like, let's put something definitive, what we'd lobby Ironman for in terms of prize money. I can go first. I think if we could get more $15,000 prize purses for smaller races locally, so wherever you are, so more regional small races with that small prize purse. Pro series I would like, and then like mid-tier races I'd like to see. I think the money's okay for that. Down to top 10 would be nice, but then pro series I'd actually like to see it go 20 deep, and then Kona I want everyone to get paid 70.3. Same. If it's a world champs, I want the full start list to get paid something. That's
So
right.
just so we kind of get clear on what each of those races are. So you'd like to see like 15K races, maybe like a dozen of them pop up in North America next year for like, there's one in New
Even
York,
half a
there's one in,
dozen.
yeah,
Yeah.
just a few extras. And then for the mid tier, you're talking like the Chattanoogas, the Mont Tremblants, the races like that are like 40K.
Exactly. Yep.
Gotcha. All right. I like that. Lisa?
No, I like that a lot. And I also think that, just to touch upon, if you're a new pro starting and you're going to one of these regional 15K races that are going to be new, and you finish on the podium, and you can try to pitch that to extra like sponsors, that's only going to help that professional's like career. Like, it's going to kind of help give them a springboard to, bring something like, hey, I finished second place at 70.3 North Carolina, and there were 15,000 people there. I got great whatever, and you can say like, I'm a podium finisher, and just try to get some more brands behind you.
Yeah, but
So
even
it affects
the
more
idea
than-
of
yeah.
and the idea of having more of them is that you can drive to these races, right?
Yeah.
So you have 2 or 3 races that you can drive to that are pro races, right? And then one thing I didn't touch on, but the non-pro series, like full distance Ironman races, top 10 for those, that's where they're at right now. I think that's pretty fair, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it was top 10, I'll have to ask ChatGPT something.
Okay, wait. I'll go next then. Yeah, I think pretty much all the same things. I would say I do like the idea of like a discretionary budget, but instead, I think they could probably just increase the depth in the pro series, and that would more or less cover it. And then it's just simpler. And yeah, like I think Ironman's done a really great job with the series, and I think the payouts for the top people and whatnot are fair for what it is. And I just think we want to see development and allowing this series to continue to get better and better, and doing what Garrick said with the smaller 15K races and a little bit more depth in the pro series payouts just sort of makes that middle class pro a little bit more viable, and you're just going to get more people going for it. Like it's less of a jump, right? Less of a jump to be like, oh, okay, I'm like winning my age group. Do I want to quit my job and go for it? Well, I need to get 20 minutes faster to make any money. But then if it's, I need to get 10 minutes faster, and then I'm at least like covering my costs. Well, that starts to get more people into it. And like the Justin Riellis, who are legit, like really legit pros, Justin probably never would have made that jump if he didn't, he was super successful in his career and made good money. If he had like a normal job where you make normal money, he probably never would have done that. Because he wouldn't have been able to afford that risk, right? That's just a total guess. I don't know. I didn't ask him, but we'd like to see more people able to make those jumps to keep developing the sport. So, Like we had these opportunities. This is the thing is I had more opportunities for like those lower level races when I was developing as a pro. Garrick and I would go drive to Washington to do an Olympic distance that never happened. We would drive to New York City
It happened the year
Triathlon.
before, and I finished third and made $1,500.
There you go. Like we drive to New York City Triathlon. We drive to. There was one in Des Moines, and there were all these Olympic distance ones that had these decent prize purses, and now those are like all gone. And I think 70.3 could have a development side as well to do that.
Even this is not Ironman or challenge related, but even just local races used to have like $300 to win, stuff like that. Like I remember there was one year where I was living in Guelph, and it was the Multisport Canada. They decided $300 if you show up and you win a race, right? So I would go every weekend, and then I had a bike sponsor who was the bike sponsor for the thing, and they'd be like, well, we'll give you another $100 every time you win, another $100 if you set a bike course record and you can prove it's a bike course record. And like, so I would show up to these races, and that's how I basically made it through the summer. I was making, every other weekend I could go make $500 or something like that, and it was perfect.
Pretty
Yeah,
good.
I did the same thing. I think you did it like the year after I did it. I went and won all the races. Then the next year you went and won all the races.
Yeah, it's pretty similar, I think. Yeah.
And that type of thing is hugely important for the people who are 21 and they're just like, oh, this triathlon thing's fun. And like, it is tough because now costs are way higher in life. There's way less lower level pro races for them to go do, and I just think like if I was coming up in this era, I don't think I could have done it. I really don't. And I got to a point where I'm like, I can win some races and get podiums.
You finished top 5 in the world at 70.3. So like, what if the Ironman world didn't have a Jackson Laundry because he didn't have a development pipeline?
Yeah, we wouldn't have a great Canadian athlete for people to look up to.
Yeah. And then, hey, you were one of the best. Like there's a time where you could easily make the argument that you were the best long course triathlete in Canada.
Yeah, and it's now. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I just do think that there's, and not that it'd be the end of the world if I didn't get to be a pro triathlete. I would have had a fine, great life. Just we like to see things continue to develop and get better and better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, Lisa,
Hey,
give
Lisa.
us your outcomes you're looking for.
No, I think we touched upon all of those. I just kind of what we said. But I do have one quick little tangent that I want to bring up.
Go for it.
The men's field of triathlon does not have a Taylor nib in it.
Yes. You are, I know where you're going with this, and I agree with you.
Taylor nib, when she is like, I think last year was a little bit of an off year for Taylor nib. But when Taylor nib is Taylor nibbing, there is not another female athlete in the middle distance, like 70.3, that can touch her. Like, I really, truly
Even
believe
Lucy
that.
Charles?
No, I don't think she can. And
You're
I really
saying
like
that-
Lucy.
Yeah.
I just
There's
think
an athlete that's so dominant that it makes it seem like everyone else is just so far behind
is
and
bad.
is so spread out. Yeah.
Yes.
And we're in a point right now in men's triathlon we just don't have that. It goes through cycles, right, where there are dominant athletes that come through, and then eventually the game catches up, and then another athlete comes that takes the next
Well,
level.
Slovig's probably going to be there soon. Like she
can
was
run.
2 minutes
Holy
behind,
cow.
and I mean, obviously Taylor might have shut it down a little bit, but yeah, definitely when she shows up to dominate a race, like
It's just she's just in a different stratosphere in the men's. Like, obviously you have a lot of amazing guys, but I don't think any of them are Taylor nib, the male version.
No, there's not the dominance. I mean, we could sit here and argue about who's better, Taylor or like Christian, and maybe Taylor's more dominant. Per her competition, she's definitely better. But I don't think if you turn Christian into a female version that he's like 10 minutes behind her. I think like it would
5.
It would look closer. I don't think it'd be 5.
He's Solvig.
He's so big. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it probably is the Norwegian method.
Yeah.
But yeah, and
Yeah.
honestly, it's amazing for the sport how amazing Taylor is and dominant. and it also can be tough for the broadcast. It's like this weird thing in my mind. I'm like, it's good, like majority good, but also it can take away from like the battles, which I think that's on the broadcast for them to like start doing a little bit more at like building up some of the other battles going on in the race where, oh yeah, there's a great battle for third, fourth, fifth right now. And we'll still show Taylor, but we'll go back here for a bit.
Yeah.
Which is hard to do because you got to make those choices on the fly and you got to be really good at knowing where to go. So like, and they are getting better. We should mention the broadcast, I think, has improved this year big time.
Oh yeah, big time. Even as someone who can put up with really bad broadcasts, because I'm also a triathlon nerd, a really bad broadcast, it's fine. All right, guys, so we just rolled over an hour. I think we're going to scrap the pass or smash or what grinds my gears. And yeah, we're going to wish Nick a good luck at Ironman Texas this weekend. It is going to be stacked. Also, one thing I forgot to mention from the race on the weekend, I want to give a shout out to Jason Richmond and his wife, who's a fan of they're fans of the podcast. So I met them met Jason at the race, and we ran together for half of the 10K. So shout out to him. Thanks for listening. Everyone else, like, comment, subscribe. It really helps on YouTube. We did really well last couple of weeks, so keep that up, guys. Thank you so much. We love you guys for listening. And I guess until next time, peace.
Ow.
Out.
I got ish to do, flying through the sky in my parachute, dancing on the couch like I'm Tommy Cruise on a one-man mission trying to see